All right, welcome to another deep dive. This time, we're tackling U.S. visa interviews.
Oh, interesting.
And get this, our main source, it's a YouTube video, but not just any video.
Okay.
It's for people learning English. Can you believe it?
Wow, that's a unique angle.
Right. We're going to learn about the visa process, A&D, pick up some new vocabulary. This is going to be fun.
I'm intrigued. So what kind of visa does the video focus on?
Well, they mainly talk about the B2 tourist visa, the one for folks just visiting, not moving permanently.
Ah, right, for temporary stays. So not for those seeking, say, a green card or something.
Exactly. For that, you'd need a resident visa, a whole different ball game with way more requirements.
Makes sense. I bet there are a bunch of other visa types too.
Oh, tons. The video even mentions a few, like the F1 for students or the J1 for exchange visitors.
Showing just how many reasons people might have for wanting to come to the U.S.
For sure. It's a good reminder that visas are super specific, tailored to your exact purpose.
Definitely. So what else does this video cover?
Okay, so get this. They actually have a mock interview in there, like a simulation of what to expect.
Oh, wow. That's really helpful, I bet. Like a sneak peek behind the curtain.
Totally. They even have a back and forth dialogue between the visa officer and the applicant.
Okay, so we get to hear the kind of questions they ask.
Yep. And it shows just how important it is to be clear and prepared.
Yeah, I bet those officers can spot a shaky answer a mile away.
Totally. Okay, there's this part where they ask about the applicant's final destination and, why they're going.
Makes sense. They want to make sure you have a legitimate reason, right?
Exactly. Want to hear that clip?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, here goes.
All right.
Straightforward, right? No beating around the bush.
Nope. Clear and concise, just what they're looking for. Gotta make sure you don't overstay your welcome,
For sure. And to really prove you're coming back, they also ask about your ties to your home country.
Ah, yes, that's a big
Like what's keeping you rooted there. Let's listen to that part, shall we?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, here it is.
Wow, he really laid it all out there. House, dog, job, even limited vacation. It's like painting a picture of a life he's got to get back to.
Right. It's not just saying you'll go back. It's proving you've got a good reason.
Exactly. The tidies thing is huge E in visa applications. It really helps ease their worries about people trying to stay illegally.
Makes sense. So it's not enough to just promise you'll return. You got to show them why you will.
Exactly. It's all about proving you're a low risk.
So what kind of evidence would really back up those claims? Like if I were applying, what should I bring?
Well, he mentioned the house, the dog, the job. Those are all great starting points, but you can take it further with documents.
Ooh, like what kind?
Property records for your house, a letter from your employer, even bank statements can be helpful.
So more is more, basically, even if they don't look at every single paper.
Precisely. A big, fat file full of proof shows you're serious and prepared.
Gotcha. It's always better to be over-prepared, I guess.
For sure. Now, I noticed the video also has a section highlighting important vocabulary.
Oh yeah, the language takeaway part. Some of those words are pretty interesting.
Yeah, like what?
Sponsor caught my eye, and then invitation letter, and then, financially independent and assets. What do those even mean in this context?
Okay, let's break them down. Sponsor is basically someone who vouches for you, financially speaking.
Oh, so like, they're saying you won't be a burden on the U.S. government.
Exactly. It could be a relative, a friend, even an organization sometimes. Someone who says, hey, this person's got their stuff together.
Makes sense. So it's like having someone take responsibility for your well-being during your visit.
Exactly. And this ties directly into the invitation letter. It's basically a formal letter from your sponsor.
Okay, and what does it say?
It outlines why you're coming, how long you'll stay, that kind of stuff. Adds legitimacy to your application,
Oh, I see. So it's like they're not just wandering in aimlessly. They've got a plan and a place to stay.
Exactly. Like someone saying, come on over, we're expecting you. Makes it all seem more legit. Want to hear how they explain those terms in the video?
Yeah, let's have a listen.
Okay, here we go.
All right, sponsor and invitation letter check. Now, what about financially independent? I have a feeling it's more than just affording your daily latte.
Right. In this context, it means you've got enough money to cover your whole trip without relying on anyone else.
Oh, I see. Like proving you won't be asking for handouts or working illegally.
Exactly. Showing them you can support yourself and won't become a problem.
Makes total sense. So you're basically saying, look, I'm good, I've got this. And assets, is that like showing off your fancy watch?
Not quite. Assets are things you own that are worth a good chunk of change.
Oh, okay.
Like property, savings accounts, maybe investments, that kind of stuff. It reassures the officer that you've got something valuable waiting for you back home.
Ah, so it's like another way to show those ties we talked about.
Exactly. It's like saying, look, I've got a good thing going back home. I'm not about to throw it all away. Want to hear how they define these terms in the video?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here's the clip.
You know, this whole video is surprisingly informative, especially considering it's meant for English learners. They even throw in a little joke at the end, where the officer pretends to grant the applicant a resident visa because he's the millionth applicant.
I remember that part. A nice way to lighten the mood a bit.
It definitely shows that while getting a resident visa might feel like winning the lottery, the real key is just being prepared and understanding the whole process.
Totally. No shortcuts, just good old-fashioned prep work and clear communication. Ready to hear that final dialogue one more time really brings it all together.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
All right, here we go.
Wow, that applicant really nailed it. Detailed answers, backing everything up with proof. He really gets it.
He does. He understands that the interview is his chance to shine, to prove he's the real deal.
Like, it's not enough to just say yes or no. He's giving them context, the whole story.
Totally. And most importantly, he's backing it all up with evidence. That's what makes his case convincing.
It's like that saying, don't just tell me, show me.
Right. And in the visa world, showing means having all your ducks in a row, papers organized, story straight.
Absolutely. So for someone out there thinking about applying, what's the biggest takeaway from all this?
I'd say this. Visa interviews are way more than just answering questions. It's about showing them who you are, proving your intentions, and having the evidence to back it all up.
It's about preparation, clarity, and making a rock-solid case that you'll play by the rules. Now, we've been all about the US so far, but every country does things differently, right?
Oh, absolutely. Some are more relaxed, some are super strict. It's a whole world of variations out there.
So let's take a trip around the globe and see what other visa adventures await, shall we?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing how visa policies can be like little windows into a country's, well, their whole vibe.
Oh yeah, like what do you mean?
Well, think about it. Some countries are all about open doors, especially for tourists just passing through.
Like who comes to mind?
Well, look at the Schengen area in Europe.
Ah, the Schengen area. Isn't that like a bunch of countries with one big visa?
It is. 26 countries all using the same visa rules. Pretty much a traveler's dream come true.
So like I could go from, I don't know, Paris to Rome to Berlin, all on one visa. No extra paperwork.
You got it. Citizens of tons of countries can just waltz right in for up to 90 days.
Wow, that's got to be great for tourism.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge boost. Makes traveling so much smoother.
But I'm guessing there's still some rules, right? Can't just be a free-for-all.
Right, of course. You still got to apply for that Schengen visa and prove you've got things sorted, like where you're staying, travel insurance, and that you've got enough money to not, become a burden.
So you're saying freedom of movement, yeah, but with some sensible limits.
Exactly. They want to make sure everyone's playing by the rules. And speaking of rules, let's hop over to a country known for being a bit more, shall we say, particular about their visas.
Ooh, sounds intriguing. Who are we talking about?
Let's just say if you're thinking of a spontaneous trip to China, you might want to rethink that.
Oh, really? Why is that?
Their visa system is, well, it's pretty intense. Depending on where you're from and why you're going, you might need to hand over a super detailed itinerary, like down to the hour.
Whoa, serious stuff.
What else? Oh, and get this. You might need invitation letters, not just from anyone, but from people or organizations in China.
So like proving you know someone there or have a specific reason to be there.
Exactly. They really want to know what you're up to. And in some cases, you might even have to go through a face-to-face interview at their embassy or consulate.
Wow, that's next level. So no last-minute getaways to the Great Wall then.
I mean, never say never. But it's definitely not for the faint of heart or the poorly planned. China's all about being meticulous. But hey, once you're in, totally worth it. The history, the culture, the sights, incredible.
It's like they say, good things come to those who wait and plan meticulously.
Huh, exactly. Now let's swing by a place known for being a little more, shall we say, laid back, at least when it comes to certain types of visas.
All right, ready for some chill vibes? Where are we headed?
How about Australia? They've got this awesome program called the Working Holiday Visa.
Ooh, I've heard of that. Isn't that for, like, young people who want to travel and work at the same time?
You got it. Think of it as the ultimate gap year experience. Live and work in Australia for a whole year, maybe even longer, depending on your situation.
Sounds amazing. Sign me up. What's the catch?
Well, you got to be between 18 and 30, at least for most nationalities. Some go up to 35. Obviously, a valid passport is a must. And you got to prove you've got enough cash to support yourself while you're there, no freeloading.
So basically, showing you're responsible enough to handle yourself, but young enough to actually enjoy the adventure.
Exactly. It's all about encouraging exploration and cultural exchange. And hey, they get some extra hands in the workforce, so it's win-win.
I love it. Travel, work, experience a new culture. It's like hitting the jackpot. It's incredible how each country uses visas to try and, shape the kind of experience people have,
Absolutely. It's about managing who comes in, for what reason, and for how long. But beyond the rules and regulations, it's important to remember the human side of all this.
Oh, for sure. Behind every visa application, there's a whole story.
Exactly. People apply for visas for so many reasons. Maybe they want to study abroad, reunite with family, start a new life, or just see the world.
It's easy to get lost in the paperwork and forget that real people with real dreams are on the other side of it all.
Totally. And those stories often come with both challenges and triumphs. The visa process can be super stressful, waiting, uncertainty. But when those dreams come true, whether it's studying at a top university or finally hugging a loved one you haven't seen in ages, it's pure magic.
Talk about the human spirit. It's like facing a challenge and coming out stronger on the other side.
Couldn't have said it better myself. But, speaking of challenges, going back to what we were saying about understanding WHY countries have certain visa policies.
Yeah, it's more than just red tape, right?
Right. It can tell you so much about a country's history, their values, their fears even.
Like how open they are to the world or how guarded they are.
Exactly. So it's important to be aware of those things and, be respectful of the process.
Okay, so for someone out there feeling totally overwhelmed by this whole visa thing, what's your top tip?
All right, here's the trifecta. First, do your research. Know exactly what that specific country wants for that specific visa. Second, be prepared. Get all your papers in order, double-check everything, even practice answering those interview questions. And third, patience, my friend, patience. Sometimes things take time.
Love it. Be proactive, be informed, and don't freak out if things get delayed.
You got it. And hey, even with all the stress, try to see it as an adventure. It's a chance to grow, learn, and see the world differently.
So true. The world's a big place, and with a bit of planning and a whole lot of heart, those borders can become bridges to amazing experiences. Now, we've talked about a lot today, from the nitty-gritty of U.S. interviews to those global variations. But before we wrap up, I want to touch on something we mentioned earlier. The emotional roller coaster of it all.
Yeah, the waiting game can be brutal, especially when so much is riding on it. Trips, studies, family reunions, it's a lot to handle.
It's like waiting for exam results or that dream job offer, but times 1,000. What helps when you're in that limbo, just waiting and hoping?
Well, staying organized helps. Knowing your deadlines, keeping track of everything, and honestly talking to the embassy or consulate, keeping that communication open. But the biggest thing, focus on what you can control. Ace that application, rock that interview, and then just let go.
So true. Sometimes all you can do is trust the process and take care of yourself in the meantime.
Absolutely. These applications, they're a marathon, not a sprint. You need that mental stamina.
This whole conversation has really shown me just how complex this whole visa thing is. It's not just about forms and rules. It's about feelings, cultural differences, and that deep human need to connect with the wider world.
I couldn't have put it better myself. It's a reminder that behind all the official stuff, there are hopes and dreams, people wanting to explore, learn, build a better life.
And those stories, both the successes and the not-so-successes, those are what make it all real.
Absolutely. Every applicant has a story to tell, one that deserves to be heard. It's a reminder that even if the process is tough, it's all about connecting with something bigger than ourselves.
Beautifully said. And on that note, maybe we can dive into some real-life examples of how those visa requirements play out in different countries.
I'm game. Let's do it.
Okay, so let's get into those global visa variations. Where do we even begin?
Well, we could start with a region that's known for being super welcoming to tourists, especially those just popping in for a bit. The Schengen area in Europe.
Yeah, the Schengen area. Isn't that like a group of countries that all share the same visa rules?
That's the one. 26 countries in total, all under one visa policy. A traveler's dream, honestly.
So I could hop from Paris to Rome to Berlin all without needing separate visas.
Exactly. As long as you're a citizen of one of the many eligible countries, you can travel freely within the Schengen area for up to 90 days.
Wow. Talk about making travel easy.
Right. It's a major win for tourism, that's for sure. But like with anything, there are still some rules.
Yeah, I figured there had to be some catches.
Of course. You still need to apply for the Schengen visa and provide all the usual stuff. Proof of where you're staying, travel insurance, and that you have enough money to, not end up stranded.
Makes sense. So it's all about finding that balance, right? Freedom to travel, but with some responsible limits.
Exactly. Okay, now let's jump over to a country that's known for being a bit more, shall we say, thorough when it comes to their visa process.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Spill the tea.
Let's just say that if spontaneity is your thing, China might not be the best travel destination.
Oh, really? Why is that?
Their visa system is, well, pretty demanding. Depending on your nationality and your reason for visiting, you might need to submit a crazy detailed itinerary.
Like down to the minute.
Pretty much. They want to know exactly what you're up to. And get this, you might even need to get invitation letters, not just from anyone, but from people or organizations actually located in China.
So it's all about proving you have genuine connections and reasons for being there. No random wanderings allowed, huh?
You got it. They really like to know what you're doing and why. And in some cases, you might even have to do a face-to-face interview at their embassy or consulate.
Wow, that's intense. No last-minute weekend trips to Beijing then.
I mean, it's not impossible, but it's definitely not something to decide on a whim. Careful planning and thoroughness are key when it comes to China. But hey, for those who put in the effort, the rewards are huge. The history, the culture, the food, it's an incredible place.
It sounds like the kind of place that really rewards those who prepare.
Totally. Okay, now for our last stop. Let's head to a place that's known for being a bit more relaxed, at least when it comes to certain types of visas.
Okay, I'm ready for some chill vibes. Where are we off to?
How about Australia? They have this awesome program called the Working Holiday Visa.
Ooh, I've heard about that. It's for young people who want to travel and work at the same time, right?
You got it. It's basically the ultimate gap year experience. You can live and work in Australia for a whole year, sometimes even longer, depending on your nationality.
Sounds like a dream. What are the requirements?
Well, you generally need to be between 18 and 30 years old, although for some countries the upper age limit is 35. You need a valid passport, of course, and you have to show that you have enough money to support yourself while you're there.
Makes sense. So they want to make sure you're responsible, but also adventurous enough to, really embrace the experience.
Exactly. It's all about encouraging young people to explore the world, experience a new culture, and contribute to Australia in the process.
Such a cool program.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing to see how different countries approach this whole visa thing. It's really like a reflection of their values and priorities,
Couldn't agree more. Visa policies are never just about rules and regulations. They're a glimpse into a country's attitude towards the world, its history, and its hopes for the future. So whether you're dreaming of wandering through ancient ruins in Europe, getting lost in the bustling markets of Asia, or soaking up the sun on Australian beaches, remember that understanding the nuances of each country's visa system is a crucial part of planning your adventure.
So do your research, be prepared, and pack a healthy dose of patience, right?
Absolutely. And never forget that sense of adventure. The world is full of incredible experiences just waiting to be discovered. And sometimes the journey to get there is just as rewarding as the destination itself.
Beautifully said. Well, folks, that brings us to the end of another deep dive. We hope you've enjoyed our exploration of the world of visa applications. Until next time, happy travels.